I welcome into another episode of The Blueprint. It is Victory Sunday here, Devin, but I'm a little conflicted on how to feel, as I'm sure you are. I want to get right into it, man, and honestly ask you, how are you feeling after the win?
I feel good. I feel good because I'm just telling you, I will take a tough, ugly, far too close win over a loss for two specific reasons, right? Obviously, we don't like to see it. Fans don't like to see it. Nobody likes to see it, especially when you're more superior in talent across the board, both sides of the ball, especially in everything, right? You're a better football team on paper. You're a better football team physically. All those different things. You should not be in this type of fight. However, the two reasons: one, keeps your goals intact. It doesn't matter how much you beat them by, right? As long as you beat them, right? Field goal, 1 point, safety, whatever the case may be. As long as you beat them, that's the answer. And then two, you get an opportunity to fix things, right? So you saw some things that were glaring and that maybe weren't exposed in previous games. Now, there were some things that were exposed and they just continue to get exposed, and you keep getting a chance to try to fix those things. You thought you would fix some of those things in the bye week. However, you find out, okay, these are still issues and we're still not to the game, right? We know what the game is, right? I know they play Maryland, but the game, right? We're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're not there yet, you still get an opportunity to address some of the things that were exposed. And so those are the two silver linings. However, I can understand when, fans are losing and everybody's all upset. And then you have the fans that are like overly positive, like nothing's wrong. And it's like, oh, hold on now. The sky's not falling. But have you ever seen Chicken Little?
Yeah.
It's a
great movie.
A piece of the sky is, it's a piece.
Yeah.
It's a piece. It's not the entire sky. It's maybe a spaceship. However, it does appear that the sky's falling. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Listen, there's a lot of Harbaugh-isms. I mean, we all love the Harbaugh quotes, but I think the best one is we celebrate all wins. You celebrate all wins because they're hard to come by and nothing's guaranteed, and you celebrate the win, and there's certainly a lot to get corrected there. But a lot of guys stepped up, man. Andrew Marsh, there's your wide receiver one, folks, and maybe a potential first-round pick. Unbelievable, Dev.
Wait. Is that a question? I thought we outlined this 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes ago.
Well, if it was for anybody,
did I make it clear? Because the people who are loyal, they know, right? You got some newbies probably coming to watch because they've heard about liking and subscribing, and they've done that, right? So they maybe didn't go back and watch all the old episodes, right? But to be clear, was it week 2 maybe? Week 3 maybe? I said we got 1A, 1B. We got 1A, 1B. And they're interchangeable. It's like thing 1, thing 2. Thing 1 and thing 2. Thing 2 is not necessarily inferior to thing 1. You can call him Chocolate Thunder or Ben, whatever you want to call him, right? He just happens to be 2. So 1A, 1B as far as 2 talented wide receivers.
Outstanding.
I mean.
And in big moments, huge moments. Got to have it.
I remember, I talked about this. I said, listen, you got to take all the reps and get as many to him as you can. Because later in the season, we're going to need him to make big plays. I know people that watch, they remember me saying that. And is there any plays bigger?
No.
I mean, 10 catches, was it 10 catches in the first half or something like that?
Yep.
And then, but that catch on the sideline, that ball is thrown out of bounds. The
Great
range. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
To reach out of bounds, but keep actually, let's not say keep his foot in, his feet in. That's an NFL catch.
Right.
Oh, it was believable.
That's why I'm so conflicted, though, too, Deb, because it's like that was a freshman throwing to a freshman. After a few drives ago, a freshman, Jordan Young, comes out of nowhere. Great PBU to get the ball back and force a 3 and out. There's so much youth on this team contributing, and yet at a certain point, you can't say they're not freshmen anymore. It's you're starting.
We're at the end of the season. Yeah,
we got to. Right. We got to go here. We got to go. Bryson Cusdall, I thought he looked good in his opportunities against Purdue, and I mean, my heart sunk when I saw Jordan Marshall get injured, and I think Bryson Cusdall has some serious pop. So, I mean, guys, I thought Greg Crippen had a great game. He had some key blocks in there. He's playing his best football. So, I mean, across the board, guys are stepping up, but it's like and what's most disappointing, I think, is off the bye, you want a clean operation. Not on special teams. There wasn't a clean operation. Zavada, for Michigan to reach their goals as a kicker.
You were on that early.
Yeah.
You challenged him early. You said, I don't care. You are the guy. You have to make your kicks.
Got to. And then, we'll talk about it in a second, but maybe it'll be a good intro here, Dev. I thought Bryce did a lot of good things. I thought his footwork was much improved.
Yeah.
Accuracy. I thought he trusted the protection much better. Probably still room to grow there. And I even think Chip called a good game, man. I see some people complaining about the play calling. I thought Chip called a good game.
He protected Bryce he protected him very well. Now, he had the one where he got cute with the reverse. However, that's a play that they do. Like, you mix that in from time to time. Yeah. I agree with you. I think he called a really good game, and he put Bryce in a position to be successful. However, I do have some criticism for Chip, but let me give you my takeaways from Bryce's performance. The mistakes that we've seen throughout the season, they weren't as frequent, right? And we know those mistakes. We've kind of outlined in the footwork. Was it always perfect? No. But was it always bad? No, right? And that's where we want to be, because even a veteran quarterback, even a guy who's played a lot of football, you're going to have times where your footwork isn't what it's supposed to be, right? And that's just normal, because we're not robots. We're humans. But it can't be as frequent as it had been in the past, and I don't think it was. He didn't leave the pocket nearly as much as he did in previous games, as far as like leaving when he doesn't have to. Right now, did he leave sometimes when he didn't have to? Yes. However, was it frequent? Was he a repeat offender of that? Absolutely not. That's improvement. Did he see the field perfectly? I'm going to have a bunch of plays that I outline. No, he did not. However, he saw the field, right? He didn't see it perfectly, but he saw the field. He made some really nice throws, some really nice plays. And when your mouth is dry and your palms are sweaty after you throw an interception and the game is on the line, he made the throw, period.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to talk about all the blunders and all the mistakes and all those different things. But let me remind you, he made the play when he made the two plays that need to be made. He made the throw, and then he made the scramble to make sure you put Savannah in a position of that's conducive to success, because you just haven't been kicking well. So you need as many yards as you can get, right? And then he made new mistakes, and I'm going to outline those. And as much as you would love to not make mistakes, you want to see new mistakes. You don't want to see a repeat offender of the same things over and over and over again, because now it's kind of demoralizing for me watching, for fans, for you, for everyone. And he made a lot of new mistakes on top of making great plays at the end of the game. So I'm not gonna say I was excited. I'm not gonna say I was excited, because the criticism for Chip Lindsey and maybe it's not Chip Lindsey, whoever's on the sideline helping Bryce, getting on the iPad, the criticism will be for them. Don't know exactly who that is. I guess it technically falls on Chip Lindsey, but there were things that, because we outlined what they should do. RPO, make sure those say, we talked about that with Jarrett, and they did it, right? So hopefully you're watching the show. Good looking out. However, I don't think they went in depth enough, and they didn't coach him up enough. And then after halftime is when I was really frustrated, because, okay, during the game, in the first half, fine. But at halftime, it was very disappointing to see some of the mistakes, because they were mistakes that were made in the beginning of the game, but they didn't have to pay for them, right? There were mistakes that were made, but they didn't have to pay for them. And they actually had success with those mistakes. And so that's something we talked about earlier in the year is – and most people aren't getting coached up when they do something good. However, we just haven't been able to see when something good happens, right? Throwing into cover 2 or whatever the case may be. When that happens, we don't see nearly enough coaching that out of you, because we know it's not going to work at the highest level, right? And that's something that I'm definitely going to outline when we get to the pictures.
Yeah, Devin, I think the most important piece of this too is everything we talked about going into the bye was we didn't need to see a perfect game, but we needed to see improvement, fundamentally especially. And seeing that was the most encouraging piece to me, stepping into throws. His 3-step drops, understanding it's a three-step drop and getting the ball out on time. And I think it's coming together because the offensive line is starting to protect better, and you're getting guys to play with a ton of confidence. Andrew Marsh doesn't make those plays if he isn't fully believing in himself, and he was. And then on the flip side here, before we close, and then we get to your pictures to break down his day, Bryce Underwood in the pocket. The defense really handled business last week. So I just You look at the stat line, and this was complete dominance. Northwestern, that's a rushing team. They are a run-based team. I really like their offensive line. 61 yards rushing on the day. The defensive front showed up. The linebackers showed up. They tackled really well. That's encouraging. But again, operationally, special teams, it didn't cost us this time. It's going to cost Michigan at some point this season, And coming off of a bye week, I think that was the most disappointing part at this point because you don't have another bye ahead of these final two games to clean up the special teams operations. So
yeah, like you said, that is going to cost you. And we've talked about that early in the season, and we don't got to get into it, but if you don't clean up that phase, right? That phase can change games. We just watched Ohio State return a kick for a touchdown, right? Like that, because that's what we're playing for.
It can change games for you or against you.
It can change games for you or against you, and it almost was disastrous for Michigan. And luckily, because we're so much better, right? Our team was so much better. They were able to recover and make sure that they put themselves in a position to win the game at the end. And again, I have to say it again. A freshman quarterback put you in position to win the game. However, some of his mistakes put you in position to maybe lose the game, right? So it's a give and a take, and we're all growing with Bryce Underwood, right? So I can't wait to get these pictures and show you the growth and some of the things that are new mistakes that you probably haven't seen.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're going to step aside for our first break. Like, subscribe. Next segment, you guys know why. It's DG's Quarterback Breakdown. We'll see you on the other side of the break. Support for The Blueprint comes from Google. Every August, we talk about new rule changes coming to college football. But now that we're in the middle of the season, it's hard to follow the real impact those rules are having on the games. One that comes to mind is the definition of a defenseless player. Obviously, targeting is one of those plays that's really subjective. It has a major impact on games, and it's really fluid in terms of how it gets called.
But with AI mode and Google search, you can just type in, how have this year's college football rule changes impacted the season so far? And AI mode will pull together the key details and give you the summarized AI-powered response. It's perfect for those big, nuanced questions that don't have a simple answer. It doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups to learn more about specifics and explore related ideas.
So whether you're wondering about a complex scheme, a new rule, or the intricacies of the transfer portal, with AI mode, you can just ask Google. We are back on The Blueprint, the moment you guys are always waiting for every single week. We got a few tweets even yesterday, Dev. We're starting to get great interaction on
tweets. Yes. I love tweets. Or X's. Do we call them X's? All my exes live in Texas.
Sound right.
No.
I don't know. Whatever you can call it that, sure. But they said, hey, what'd you guys think of Bryce's quarterback performance?
Yeah.
Guys, you know where to find it. You know where to find it. So, Dev, you had the floor. This is your segment. What do you got for us?
Welcome to my humble abode. Now, as I outlined already, there was a lot of good, but there was some bad. But the bad was not repeat offender bad. It was new mistakes. And guess what? You guys are going to learn some new things, and some of you are going to act like you know all the coverages and all that. But we're going to teach some new people, some new viewers, some loyal listeners and watchers about a new coverage that Bryce hadn't seen yet. And I'm pretty sure it kind of confused him. And that's okay because he's young, and it's good that he sees it now before he gets to the game. So, first picture. It's a really good job by Chip Lindsey. Marsh, I think everybody might remember this picture. It looks like a whole shot that's going to get caught, but Marsh starts off in the backfield, right? So it gives the defense a different look. They have no idea what's coming. However, it's just a basic pass concept for Bryce. You got two verticals to the boundary side, cut the field in half. Outstanding job of putting Bryce in a position so that he doesn't have to use his eyes to find everything, right? He can just look downfield and see what he sees. He's got his two best receivers on the same side, and if that isn't there, he'll get to the check down. Let's go to the next picture. All right, so as these guys get vertical, you can see Donovan McCulley, he's on top of Donovan McCulley, but that's basically man-to-man, right? Andrew Marsh also basically in man-to-man on the outside. Now, right now, you need to read the posture and the leverage, right? The posture and the leverage. The leverage On McCulley, bad. He's way on top. There's no real chance of him getting this football. Again, Donovan McCulley is essentially a sacrificial lamb, which we've talked about in previous episodes. But you want to look at the leverage and the posture of the guy over Marsh. Now, his leverage, he's on top, not nearly as much as the other guy, but he is on top a bit. But his posture is a squatting posture. And I can explain it, but just imagine you can't move very fast when you're squatting, right? So he's squatting as if he's kind of like a cover 2 corner maybe, but he's also backing up because he doesn't have a threat. But then he sees the threat from the running back, and he continues to back up, right? Now, the problem with this is if he's going to squat and he's not sprinting as fast as he can, guess what? Andrew Marsh is sprinting. So even though it appears he's not open, because of the posture and the leverage of this defensive back, if you anticipate this, next picture, if he's even, he's leaving. Everybody knows this, right? It's something that you hear all the time. And if you haven't heard it, you heard it just now. If he's even, he's leaving. And remember that because it's going to come up again. You see the Bryce Underwood. This guy's not open just yet. Marsh is not open. However, that ball is cocked, loaded, and ready to fly. Anticipation, anticipatory thrower, understanding. Even though he's not open yet, he's even. So therefore, he's leaving, and it's going to be a very nice throw. Nice catch by Marsh, and that's a really good start to this episode and these pictures and the game. Bryce started off really, really hot.
Go back one photo, too, because you were talking about, look at where Bryce's eyes are on this. He's looking at that safety. That safety has the ability to pass that off because you see that number 21. He's coming over. The safety could pass it off, and then maybe he breaks that play up on the sideline.
Yeah.
But Bryce's eyes are holding him. That's high-level quarterback play. That's great stuff.
And for Chip Lindsey, what you did here is, because way back there, safety can't see his eyes, really. He sees that helmet, that winged helmet, right? So as long as his helmet is looking there, it's holding him. But guess what? The play designs for him to do that, right? So he can't mess this up. He has to look that way because that's where his helmet should be. So that's a good job by Chip Lindsey, and it allows Bryce to see things. And as he continues to get these reps, right, and he looks at this on film and he sees what his eyes did or what his helmet did to the safety, he can now put that in his memory bank and say, oh, okay, that's how it works here at the college level. All I got to do is make him feel like I'm doing something or make him see that I'm doing something and then do the opposite, which is what he did here.
And one final thing with Chip, Dev, you've highlighted this play a few times. It's not that different from when Marsh runs the out and then up that he's hit against Michigan State and tried against Purdue. But what I love here is they started with a play action to Marshall into the boundary. And McCulley digs inside on a switch release. That is an exact blocking scheme that they called for multiple times. McCulley had a number of times having to dig out the safety where they did hit. So everything's being married together. And I wanted to point that out and say I like some of the things that Chip is doing.
And so these are the intricacies that the fans just can't see. They don't see how much it takes to firstly get him in alignment, put Marsh in the backfield, and then design this play so it looks like the run plays. This is high-level play calling right here, right? Play design, play calling. And so, look, that's why you come here. Obviously, you can't see it when you're just watching the game.
Subscribe.
That's why you come to the blueprint. Move on to the next play if you can, Adam. So, you can see by these purple counting numbers, right, you got 6 guys in the box. Right? And RPO is just simple math, especially for Bryce right now, because they're not really allowing him to read it as a pulling runner, right? They're blocking the read key that you would have if you were having the triple option where it's I can hand it off, I can pull it and run, or I can throw it, right? So it's really just a double option. It's either I hand it or I throw it in a lot of these cases. And he threw it here, and it's a really nice throw. However, it's the wrong decision, right? Simple math problem. You got 6 purple defenders. You got 7 in yellow or in maize, and you have the white jerseys. 7 of us. It would be 8 if they were reading a defensive end, but because they're not, it's only 7. So the quarterback's out of it. This is a run the football scenario every single time. You do not want to dilly-dally with, I'm going to just throw it because I want to throw it, right? Because it works here. It works here, but you'll pay for it later. Let me say it again. It works here, but you'll play for it later. And I saw it early in the game, and because I'm watching the first half, getting ready for my game, and I'm just like, man, that Bryce looks light for that throw. And then it's a little hairy on the throw. Move to the next picture. Well, guess what? Remember that long run that Marshall had? He would have had another one early in the game, right? And now you're really cooking with hot grease because now those safeties have to come down. So late in the game, they're not as fun and kind of going down and playing these games with your quarterback, right? So this ball should be handed off, and it should be Marshall still running right now. He should be running, right? Because I'm just telling you, move on to the next picture. And I wrote this, I will take every running back, and that's not just Marshall, right? Every running back on Michigan's roster, one-on-one, with a safety, 10 times out of 10, especially when they're coming from depth. And you can see number 6 right here. He's coming from depth. Tackling in the open field is a lost art. It just is because you just can't hit as much in practice. There's no two-a-days. You don't get into the details as much. Not to mention our running backs are just really good players. So this ball should be handed off. However, it's a completion, and it builds the confidence of throwing completions. However, when you go to the sideline, there has to be a conversation. Nice play, love the throw, bad decision, right? We have to count the box and make sure we know that we have the numbers. We want to run the football. This is a running team. Anything you have there?
Yeah, and I would just say to that too is it comes down to like situational awareness is a big piece of this. Like, hey, how's our team doing in the game? Are we running the ball successfully? Is our offensive line blocking well? Are we shredding them in coverage? What's the down and distance? And to me, it's you're controlling the game. It's 1st and 10, and you're running the heck out of the football. So if it's close, this would be a situation to further emphasize what you're saying, Dev. Hand it off.
And especially in the shadow of your own end zone, right? A lot of those different things. Now, that's a lot to ask for Bryce, right? To know the situation because he's like we talked about, his head is still spinning. However, he can count the box, right? He can count the box and see we have the numbers, run the football, right? And then he'll start to be able to get into all those different things you talked about. But you have to start first with the basics of we've got 7, they've got 6. We got to run this football and allow our running backs to do what they came here to do. What are we paying them to do? Run. Moving on to the next photograph. Now, this is a new thing. I haven't seen many opportunities for Bryce to see this. In the times that he might have seen it, it was a run play, so he never got a chance to attack it. This is what we call Tampa 2. Now, we know what cover 2 is, right? Safeties are going to have half. We've talked about it ad nauseum, right? And the corners are going to have the flats. The issue here with Tampa 2 is you got an extra guy that's going to the middle, and that's the middle linebacker. So move on to the next picture. And because the middle linebacker is getting to the middle, it really isn't cover 2 anymore, right? So that whole shot that you usually can throw, you can't throw it as easily because those safeties are more spread out. They don't have to worry about the middle. Why don't they have to worry about the middle, Jake?
Because there's a linebacker right there.
Linebacker in the middle, right? Yeah. So essentially now we have 3 double cloud almost, right? You got cover 3, but then you still have the principles of cover 2 with the corners down in the flats, and you've got a guy in the middle, right? So this is something that he hadn't seen in the past game just yet. So now he's going to throw this ball on the outside. Not a good decision, right? Not a good decision. You're essentially doubled on the outside with a guy in the middle. You want to try to check this ball down, or if you look behind Bryce, look at all that space to run. When you're dedicating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in pass defense, there's nobody for the quarterback. And though they have their eyes on you, you're a talented athlete, this is the opportunity you'll get to get out of the pocket, maybe create an explosive play with your arm, but you run and get as much as you can on 1st down.
Yeah. And again, you got to have this like feel to this too, because hey, sometimes Tampa 2, if that linebacker doesn't get depth right away, maybe you could throw it if you like your matchup. But what you notice with these photos, that's a 7-on-7 drop, meaning these linebackers said, oh, we don't think they're throwing it. They're getting depth right away. So that's where I think as a quarterback, Dev, if you're seeing that, you might shut it down right away and say, where's my check down? I got to find my check down or run.
And as much as you don't want to do that, right? And as you get older, you'll be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. However, it's 1st down, right? Just like you talked about in the last pictures. It's 1st down. I don't have to force anything, right? Not to mention, we're going to be able to run the ball on 2nd down. We run the ball well already. I don't have to drive this ball down the field and put the ball in risk because, like I said, all those guys back, it's just too many. Everything is covered. The whole shot's not there anymore. However, I do kind of like that he saw that it was cover 2, and he's trying to get to the whole shot. Right? We'll love him try to get to the middle because the middle should be first, Jake. And if the middle is first, right, and he tries to go to the middle, what will he in turn see?
He's going to see the safety rotation.
Yep, he's going to see the safety, and you're going to see this linebacker in the middle, right?
Mhm.
So now it's like, okay, middle's gone. And then when he goes, he sees that safety rotation. Oh, they're a lot wider off the hash. I'm probably not going to be able to throw this whole shot. And now I can choose to either check it down,
Mhm.
which the running back I think got ate up, or you can run, which his legs have been dangerous, and they helped us later in the game. So this is a new thing that they saw, maybe a new coverage for everybody else at home learning. Tampa 2, write it down, remember it. So when you see it, you can be watching the film nice and smart and say, they're in Tampa 2 right here. This is an opportunity for Bryce to run the football. Here we go, moving on. Okay. One-on-one. Number 4 and number 1. They have to get the ball. And remember, we talked about it. Thing 1, thing 2, Chocolate Thunder, Ben, he's not inferior. They're the same guy. If they're one-on-one, you pick the best matchup, they have to get the football in the pass game. No questions asked, especially when the safety is down and coming down even further. Because you've run the ball so well, you're going to have these opportunities with one-on-one coverage. Move on to the next picture. And we learned something here, Jake. What's the old saying?
If he's even, he's leaving.
If he's even,
look at that running position too.
He is in full sprint, head down, digging. I absolutely love it. Young receivers so many times, they start looking for the ball early and they can't run fast. You need to get your head down. The ball's not nearly about to come to you yet. Even though Bryce is about to throw it, that ball's going to go up and come down. You need to be sprinting, keeping your speed, pulling away, and that's what Marsh is doing. His instincts as a wide receiver, his attention to detail as a wide receiver, we've already highlighted that he blocks really hard. I am so impressed. Obviously, he makes big plays. He's talented, all that. But the details, so small details like making sure you're digging at the beginning of your right to make sure you have your speed outstanding. And for Bryce, that's a plus read, right? Understanding where the safety is, way on the other side of the field, trying to get to the middle. That's plus timing. Look at his arm. The ball's already out, and if he's even as he's leaving, that's anticipating. And then a double plus on the throw. I mean, just drops it in the bucket. The talent is evident.
That's why. But again, like where Andrew Marsh is, he's 6-7 yards past the line of scrimmage right now. So I go right back to Bryce's feet. This was a quick drop, hitch, and balls out. Like he's not waiting. It's just great operation, quarterback operation.
When it goes, and this is universal across all quarterbacks, every offense. If your throwing goes, now it's not universal for the little kids I coach sometimes, right? Because their arm isn't strong enough. So you can't take 3. You need to catch it basically and start hitching forward to throw the football. But for grown-ups, right, for the high-level football players that we get to cover, 3, hitch, ball. It's over. 3 hits ball. The decision has been made. The safety's down. You've got one-on-one with your 1A, 1B wide receiver. The ball has to be up. It is up, and everybody saw what happened. Amazing catch and a plus throw from Bryce Underwood. So, like I talked about. This is
the last thing I'd say, too, though, Dev.
Yeah.
If wide receiver 1 treatment, I would be shocked if Maryland leaves Andrew Marsh one-on-one like this again, or Ohio State.
You think
going for 200 like that? There's probably going to be a safety over the top.
Oh, I thought you said that they will. I'll say, oh, you think they will? I don't think they will.
Yeah, right. No, I don't think they will.
Yeah. No. So that's going to be another set of issues that we're going to have to break down because I know Loxley. He's not allowing Andrew Marsh to catch 6, 7, 8 balls in a row. He's just not going to allow it. It's not going to happen. They're going to have coverage. They're going to roll it. They're going to do all these different things, and that's going to be a challenge for Chip as well to firstly tell Bryce, hey, if they're doing that, you can't force it. 2, design ways for them still to get open and not be double teamed, right? So that's something they can look at as they move forward and get ready for Maryland. But let's move on to the next picture. Right, so here, remember what I talked about just a picture ago. One-on-one with retreat coverage. The ball has to go to number 1 or number 4, whichever one it is, I don't care. Number 1 has a sprint out, right, a deep out route, where it can't be covered when it's thrown on time, right? And for Bryce Underwood, he never even looks over there. Can't happen. Can't happen. You got middle safety. You got one-on-one. If it's a pass play, you need to get out there to your number 1 receiver that conveniently is wearing the number 1 jersey. Move on to the next picture. So this is an issue that I've seen some, but not a ton, right? But it will get you in trouble. And now this is the interception. And the interception is bad and whatever, and it could have been avoided if you just go to the number 1 receiver and throw that. However, the issue that I have with this is his feet and hips are not aligned with the throw, right? So a lot of people on this that are watching, they didn't play quarterback, of course, but a lot of people golf, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little golf right now.
Yeah.
When you're lining up to golf, right, and you want to hit that ball straight to the left, wherever you want to hit it, imagine where your feet are, right? Pretty much parallel to each other, right? And I want everybody at home, to reach down on, if you're right-handed, your right ankle, right? Jake, you reach on your right ankle. We got down there. On that outside, it's kind of a knuckle, right? But if you reach on the inside, it's a knuckle. It's not as big, but it's a little knuckle as well, right? And we call that our ankle eye, right? Ooh. Anytime you're throwing, we want that eye to be looking at what you're throwing, just like a golfer, right? You probably never thought of it like that, but a golfer, your ankle eye is always looking down the fairway exactly where you want that ball to go, right? So for a quarterback, it's a little different, because as a golfer, stationary, you can always just get it in place. As a quarterback, you have to move your feet to get it in place, right? So for Bryce, just a little lazy with his feet here. You want to get your feet around to make this throw. Now, when you get your feet around to make this throw and you put your ankle eye on that target, you'll probably see that you probably shouldn't throw it, right? It's almost like he threw this blind, right? It's like he saw that middle defender. You can see that defender right above the X, right? Yeah. He saw him. He's like, oh, he must be open, and you can't play that way, right? Yeah. Because that's where you get those big mistakes, those big interceptions, and this was a big one here. So it's a mistake. It's a new mistake. It's an interception, and that's fine, but the mechanics of how he's throwing the football, I want to make sure that is correct. Got to make sure you get your feet and hips in line similar to a golfer. Hey, actually, I'm not even going to say similar. Exactly the way a golfer does it. Yeah. Now, there will be times, Jake, that you can't get your feet in line, and that's where his talent shines, right? Yeah. We've seen times where you're being rushed. Maybe there are people in your way. You can't really flip your hips, and that's why he's so talented. You can make those throws, but when it's clear and sunny and there's no imminent danger, you have to make sure that your mechanics are intact, because now you get sailed throws, overthrows, skipped balls, different things like that. And in this case, you get interception.
You know, and I think with Bryce, it's one of those things where it's like your biggest gift is also your biggest challenge. And he has such high level arm talent. I mean, he can make every throw off his back foot. But what we saw in this game is when his feet and his hips and his eyes are all working together, and when he does it operationally at a high level, he's a high-level quarterback. But this is an example of when it's not the right play caller type coverage, the defenses will make you pay.
Of course. Yeah. Let's move on to the next picture here. All right, now, remember, I said you have to coach it out. Just because it worked doesn't mean that it's good. Let me repeat it. Just because it worked doesn't mean it's good. And we saw in the first half, it happened over and over and over again, where you have 6 guys in the box, you've got 7 blockers, or 7 people in a runner, or 6 people in a runner, right? So 7 people against 6. The math problem says we should run the football, period. And here you pay for it, right? So you can see where the read is, right? He's starting to play around. And I imagine, because Braun is a really good coach, I imagine they went in and said, they aren't making us pay for only having 6 guys in the box. So what I want you to do is play around, right? You saw early in the first half, he got his hand on one first, right? Then you had to try to throw it around. Something else happened. And then now he's going to intercept this football, but the ball should be handed off. And I will tell you this, move on to the next picture. It won't be a big gain. It will be a tackle for loss, maybe, right? But Bryce would have never known that, because the ball is gone based off of the rules of what you should be doing. You understand that? Right? Yep. So it's not blocked well, right? You can see right now, it's a linebacker in the hole, and he's like, only reason he doesn't tackle the running back because it doesn't have the ball. But Bryce would never know that, right? The ball would already be handed off, and maybe the running back makes a miss, maybe not. But it's about the operation, because that's what you want to get to. You want to get good operation. We don't want to get on the after the fact, well, it's good that he pulled it. No. That is not how football is played. If it's 6 versus 7, you give the football, and then you have that tackle. You need to talk to the offensive line. Hey, we need to block it up better, whatever the case may be. But you can't get into an operation where you're doing things just because. Oh, I'm throwing it. Why did you throw it? Well, I just wanted to throw it.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's no. I need it to be clear. Was it 7 in the box? Did you feel like the safety was getting too nosy? Like, what was it that made you throw this football? And I don't think that conversation is being had, right? We showed the one earlier where it was a completion, a nice completion, and it happened, like I said, all over the film. I don't think there was one time where Bryce went to say, and I don't know this for a fact, but based off of this, I don't think there was one time where he went to the sideline and they sat him down and said, "That's a good play by you. However, that's not the play. That's not the play that should be run. That's not the play that should happen. The ball should be handed off, and we should be running and picking up yardage on the ground." And when you have those opportunities to do that, the safety is going to creep up. And you're going to be able to hit them over the top with big shots and even RPOs. So, obviously, we know this is an interception. And now we're getting into a territory where this helps us lose the game, right? And this is why the operation has to be good, because you just never know. Even though this team is inferior, they're not going to quit, right? They've got a coach that's tough, and you usually take on the personality of your coach. They're going to continue to battle, even though they're outmatched in a lot of different areas, and they make us pay here.
Yeah, and a few other things too is you can see the route that McCauley's running. It's an in-breaking, kind of like a glance, a deep slant route. And
like in between that skinny post and in between the slant, right?
So
that in between route.
There's in that safety there. You would need something to hold the safety, but there's no route to hold the safety. So then you would need him to get depth. And look at Samaj on the right side of your screen here, right side of screen number 0. Now go back one picture. He started in motion. Samaj is there left. So he goes in motion and that DB travels with him. So it's indicating man-to-man coverage, which means that safety number 6 with no one else to guard, he is going to be planted right into
just waiting
the
for
only
you.
route you're running. So that just by process of elimination, Dev, it's like the route is dead. The throw is dead pre-snap.
Yep. So these are new mistakes though. And we can accept new mistakes, right? So, a lot of people graded Bryce really, really high. On those plays that are really nice completions on the RPO, when it's a throw, when you have 7 guys and they have 6, those are minuses for me, right? Because it leads to this, right? Obviously, they're good at the time, but it leads to this, right? Where the operation isn't correct, right? The fundamental of the operation isn't correct. And so I imagine they will get it corrected now. But my challenge to the coaching staff, fix this when good things happen. Right? When he throws a skinny post on an RPO when the box is light and he should have run it and he scores a 65-yard touchdown, he should come to the sideline not being berated. That would be ridiculous. He threw a touchdown. We don't berate him for that. However, there has to be a conversation of that worked that time. And we have a number of examples throughout the season. We highlighted early. Remember, it seems like we're the only ones telling the truth here. When he threw I think it might have been against Oklahoma or whatever it was, and we said, hey, this is fine. It worked. Don't get used to this. This ball shouldn't go here. And then what happened? A game or two later, it's an interception, right? And so you have to protect him from himself. And all it is just coaching him up. Just coach him up. I'm sure he's receptive to being coached up. And if you tell him, hey, the numbers were light, don't get used to just wanting to throw the ball because you want to. I think he's going to be okay with that, right? I think he's going to be okay with handing the football to his talented running backs.
He wants to win. I mean, that's what all the coaches say. They say this guy is a competitor, a total competitor. So I know that Bryce is receptive to feedback. He's hungry to learn and be great. So, hey, tell him to listen to the blueprint. Tell him to tune in. It's there for the taking.
Now,
right.
With all those pictures, it was fun, breaking down Bryce Underwood. The good, the bad, the ugly. But the very, very encouraging. Loved it. But guess what, guys? On the other side of this, we've got more pictures. It's from the old Jake Butt, the All-American. And I don't know what they are, and you don't know what they are. But I'm excited for them. But before we get there, there's something that you absolutely must do. And I think you know what it is. Like, subscribe, backup page, grandma, everybody. If you want to keep getting
push to 10K, baby.
Got to push. You guys are doing great. You guys are doing great. And on the other side, we're going to get into Jake's pictures, but make sure during this break, you go do the things you need to do. Do the right thing. And we'll be right back.
All right, we're back here on the Blueprint. Final segment here, and some more pictures, some more breakdowns. I want to mix in some protection, Dev, some of the run game, some of the play calling, and some of the stuff I also saw with Bryce Underwood. So I wanted to pull up and start with the first play. We told you Michigan ran a lot of RPOs, and I felt it was leaky at times, especially with the pulling guard RPOs. Now, you love to pull guards in RPOs because if you think about it from a linebacker standpoint, 37 is reading. When he sees a guard pull, I'm flying downhill. Great.
Now, you don't try and race him to the other side and meet him on the other side.
Yes. Now, game plan-wise, Northwestern, they were sending their defensive ends upfield. So let's go to the next picture. Anto Saka, number 4. He's going to be unblocked. That's the risk with these pulling guard actions. Tight end gets a little chip on him, but he's going to be unblocked. This is a long way for your right guard to go. Obviously, later in the game, I believe Saka was the one that was unblocked and hit Andrew Marsh for a fumble. So long way to go, little leaky protection there. But the real issue is it's going to be the right tackle. So let's go back here to the next picture. Footwork and fundamentals. And it's so subtle. It is so subtle. With number 91 standing there and with the guard pulling away, Crippen's going to block back on the nose. So for Sprague as the right tackle, you have got to protect your inside, which means your first foot has to be your inside foot, your left foot. It matters even more because when you go to the next picture, this is further emphasizing you got to step with your left foot. He didn't do it. It matters even more. Go to the next picture because they brought nickel pressure. So 91's crashing inside. This is a great job by Jordan Marshall. He abandons the RPO action. He's just going to pick up the nickel. He gets it. And Marshall's great in pass pro. But you see Sprague's right foot was his first step, which means his left foot is in the air as 91 is spiking. Go to the next picture. Leaky protection, pocket collapses. You actually see number 4, Andrew Marsh is running open on a dig route if there was time, but there's just not time, Dev.
Yeah, so one thing I want to make sure fans understand is that RPO or play action, right? So this is an opportunity where Chip Lindsey did a nice job of setting up a play that looks like RPO but is actually play action, right? So it makes the defense think that there's an option to run when there's really not. And how do we know that? Because Marshall aborts the fake, right? So I don't know a running back ever in the world that's going to abort the opportunity for himself to get the football, right? So he aborts that, and that is so good by him because we've seen how good they are running the football. But when you get to the point where in protection, you see blitzing guys, you know you got to go Mike Sam to weak. You understand how to cross country and protect your quarterback. When you get to that point, that is as high a level running back play as you can have, right? So the fact that he knows to abort the fake and make sure he gets to protection because that's the most important thing is so encouraging. But like you said, as a tackle, you can feel that blitz coming too and anticipate that defensive end is going to do what they call a long stick, right? He's going to long stick across your face and basically get on that hip pocket of the guard that's pulling and take himself right to the play. So if you don't step with your left foot, like you're saying, the fundamentals, and we've shown them doing it. We've shown them doing these things right. So they're capable, just like when we talk about Bryce. If they don't do that, that could be disastrous. And we saw an example of that right here.
Yep. It's the little details that compound. And Dev, that was a great job. That was my mistake. RPO is a run-pass option, which means, Marshall, you don't abort the fake, you get the handoff. Yeah. What Dev was saying, play action, you have to abort the fake if you see pressure. So this was a play action. Great job by Marshall, and he did this a few times, seeing where the pressure was coming from. But
when we watch it at first glance, we think it's RPO too, and we are as high-level thinkers, and we're sitting here, no pressure, right? Nobody's blitzing. We don't have to worry about a play call. And that's how you know it's a great job by Chip Lindsey because he makes it appear that it's just RPO again when it's really not. So if we get confused when we're watching it, what do you think the defense is doing? Right? They don't know what the hell's going on. And that's why you got Marsh running wide open probably. You know, safety's coming down, whatever the case may be. We don't know what would have happened. However, the basis of what you're trying to show is fundamentals. Fundamentals. As simple as this. Step with your left foot, period.
Yep. That's all, that literally could be the difference. Step with the left foot, the right foot, whatever the play calls for. But that's probably, we'll go to the next play. That is one of the big things to consider here with Haynes and Marshall out. Those two guys were studs in pass pro. So maybe we see Max Bredesen. I don't know the full trust level. We haven't had to see it. But those two running backs, as great as they are with the ball in their hand, pass pro is most important. This is a simple hitch. I just wanted to put it on
but
because
it's huge.
We talked about
this is huge.
Yes.
It's huge.
Second and 15, calling a play to just say, let's get back into third and manageable. 3-step footwork. So let's go to the next play, next picture. Dev taught us this here. It's the punch step, set, throw. And why this matters, if you go to the next picture, that DB, The window is closing. This is a 5-yard. Look at when Dev talks about body language, he is driving down now.
Marsh hasn't even turned around and he's already sprinting down.
Yep, and look at your quarterback's position too. Against Purdue, he was waiting to see it get open, and he wasn't ready. There was another 4th and 5th step. This was a punch, set, throw, ball out, completion, 3rd and manageable. But that window closes really, really fast, Dev.
Yeah, that's what the bye week is for. Back to the basic, the fundamentals, and that's what we highlighted. We said, listen, they need to make sure that footwork gets cleaned up because it was huge regression in the previous game. That is encouraging to see because it's super simple, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like it's super rocket science, but when you're in the fire and things are going fast and you just revert. You revert back to I was in high school and I didn't need to have proper footwork to marry to the concept because guess what? I'm better than everyone, right? You revert back. And when you do that, you put yourself in less than conducive to success, ideal conditions, right? And so when you get to the bye week and you work on those fundamentals, you can see evidence he's going to do it. Punch, plant, ball, right? The defense, even though he's breaking and he plays, this is really good defense by him, has no chance.
Yep. These windows close so quick. And I know Bryce wants to go on to the NFL. It's even quicker there, and it's even tighter there. So every little detail matters. Good example of it here. Again, early in the game, it was encouraging how he came out starting this game with the fundamentals. All right, next picture. Dev, you're going to love this one. There's the play. There's the play. It's been the bread and butter concept.
Is that Jake Butt?
That's what, man, it was tough calling games when I'm seeing 88 catch passes. I'm like, wait a second, what the hell?
His neck's like not long enough. He doesn't have a long enough neck.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he's a much better athlete than me. But regardless, this is Michigan's bread and butter play. And what did we tell you? Teams are going to be ready for it. So go to this next picture. Northwestern has the perfect coverage called. You see the body position of that corner up top. He's going to pass the post route off. 88 is going to be running an out and up. He's going to be right in position there for you. And then 35, the yellow linebacker, he's also going to sink underneath it because they are ready for this concept. But Chip called a beautiful complementary concept. Donovan McCulley is going to be running a shallow.
And remember, Donovan McCulley used to be the guy on the other side.
There you go. There you go. So putting guys in different positions to succeed. And I love it. Not every team lets your receivers sit down when it's a zone in shallow. Like shallow, you stay on the move for some teams. Chip trusts his veteran to sit down in the zone. So the Northwestern vacates the zone. And you go to this next picture and you see McCulley is sitting down. He's wide open. But I go back to Bryce because this was another thing that he did against Purdue. Where you see the tackles kind of there's some penetration. Bryce vacated the pocket. He would run to the right here, trying to throw that wheel, or maybe he hits McCulley late. But this is Bryce stepping up. It's not the cleanest footwork, understanding he's stepping slightly to his right into that tackles being bull rushed. Climbs the pocket. He's ready and anticipating. This was 3rd and 5. Nope, he's ready. 1st and 10.
You don't know. I mean, after fans watch this episode, they're like, wait, maybe Chip Lindsey is not so bad. Because again, what does he do for Bryce Underwood? He puts his eyes, and guess what? He's not going to go have to find McCulley. McCulley's going to run right in front of his face, right? So there's no chance of him not throwing it to this open guy, right? Once he sees the coverage lift and see that, okay, I usually throw this post or this wheel in the whole shot or whatever. Once he sees it lift, he doesn't have to go finding the next receiver. He doesn't have to go pure progression. He just his eyes are looking where McCulley's running into. And then the next step, like you said, the cohesion of McCulley and quarterback. They're on the same page because McCulley doesn't completely stop. He throttles, right? He throttles in the whole of the zone, and that ball's out on him so he can keep going. It was really cool to watch this play. And like I said, a lot of good stuff. This was one of those good things. Yep.
And to me, 500 yards of offense, just shy of 500 yards of offense. I thought Chip called a great day. The turnovers. That's all it is. Can't have
five turnovers. Is as much as you won this game, there are no more games on the schedule that you'll win with 5 turnovers.
Yep. All right, next picture. You guys are going to have to stick with me here. I said, Sprague, your footwork wasn't great on that protection, kind of helped lead to a sack. This was 3rd and 13. It was a touchdown, but it didn't count. It called back. But there's still some great stuff here that I really wanted to highlight because to get a touchdown on 3rd and 13 down in the red zone when teams are kind of expecting Michigan to run the ball, that signifies to me high-level stuff. So the double team here is going to be by Sprague and Gardner, your right guard. you have to have great footwork. The key block, though, is Greg Crippen. Greg Crippen, after snapping the ball, has to try to reach block 95. Guys, that is a word I can't say. That is a really tough block, okay? This is like high level stuff.
Because he's not a 0, he's not a 1. What is he, a 2-eye right now?
He's shaded on the guard, exactly. Yeah. He is completely off the body of Greg Crippen. And again, he's snapping while he's got a step. So you go to this next picture, and what you see is great footwork.
That's incredible.
Placement.
I don't know how he got in front of that guy.
It's incredible. Seriously. Details, though. That's having your weight on your left foot so you can step with your right foot, doing it right as simultaneously snapping the football. And then this is a great reach block initially by Sprague. You got everything you want right here. Go to the next picture. This was the real key block, though. Donovan McCulley, we call this taking two. These safeties were triggering downhill all day. Push crack. And it's quarters coverage. And when you go to this next picture, what I love about McCulley is the feel here. As he's digging inside, he kind of gets walled off by that Northwestern corner. So instead of just giving up, Dev, he just, I can't show you the film. He kind of throws him by and presses upfield. And when you go to the next picture, you see he took two. Yeah. You get two for the price of one. Just outstanding stuff by everybody. It's unfortunately, if you go to the final picture, I just want to throw this in there. Freaking holding. They called holding. So unfortunately, it got called back.
Yeah, but that's good. That's encouraging. Stuff. That's good. And I've highlighted it before, but you always love to see your talented wide receivers. And McCulley's not getting the ball as much as he would want to. And he's not getting the ball as much as I want him to get the ball or fans want to get the ball. But he's still doing the stuff. Right? He's still doing the things, the dirty work. Right? And I'm just telling you, he's a former quarterback. He's not a dirty work guy. Right? He is a finesse player. He wants to play finesse. He wants to catch the ball outside. He wants to do all those things. But guess what? This is a running team. Similar to when I was playing wide receiver and Denard Robinson was the quarterback, we're a running team. So me, Jeremy Gallen, Roy Roundtree, Junior Hemingway, we are blockers. We are extensions of the offensive line. And no matter what we want to do in the pass game, we need to make sure we block with everything we have. And it's so encouraging to see the tradition of blocking wide receivers at the University of Michigan continue with Donovan McCulley, who he doesn't even know. He's his first year. I don't think he doesn't even know the tradition of how many receivers throughout the years have been not only good receivers, but hard, intense, aggressive blockers because you're a great teammate.
Yeah. And again, like we're going to say this, it was required to beat Northwestern. It's going to be required to beat Ohio State. Maybe even Maryland, who knows, maybe for certainly throughout the rest of the season. Every single detail counts. Over 200 yards rushing on the day. This one got called back, but we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't for McCulley's selflessness. All right, next picture. Dev, you highlighted this play. I wanted to look at it from a different angle here. It's 3rd and 9. I thought the protection is clearly progressing, in my opinion. I think the offensive line is starting to hit really good. Their stride. They really have. And I get Joe Moore Award semifinalist, too. So, again,
you don't get that by being like I love to see that they are semifinal because for weeks and weeks and weeks, we've tried to tell the fans, hey, listen, these offensive line are playing really good. They're playing really, really good. And you don't get to be a semifinalist if you're not you can't just be run blocking, right? You have to also be good in the pass.
Everything.
And they have done such a nice job since Oklahoma. I'm talking about every single week. Now, obviously, we have those situations where you have bad technique and whatever the case may be. But for the most part, they have been really impressive. I would give them, if we give out awards, right, I give them the most improved on the season, the offensive line as a group.
Absolutely. And that's credit to Newsome and Juan Castillo and Sharon Moore. They've really done a great job. And guys stepping up with injuries, a number of different offensive lines. They've stepped up. But again, Jordan Marshall, this is great stuff. Northwestern's in double A gap look. So we have 5 linemen in Marshall, 6 to block. You have Northwestern has 6 at the line of scrimmage, and then Fitzgerald, the safety, number 6, is also coming. So in theory, Northwestern has 7, and we could only block 6. What Jordan Marshall is taught in double A gap pressure, you have to start with the most dangerous, which means the guy in the line of scrimmage right over the center. So immediately Marshall is thinking, that guy lined up over Guarnera, number 53, is my responsibility. He drops out. Marshall flips his eyes, and he's prepared for Fitzgerald. The right side of the offensive line, they're going to do their job. But go to this next picture, and this is where I'm saying Frazier's doing great, great stuff, okay? Again, 1-2, cool. Just talked about it. Plus for Jordan Marshall. Go to the next picture. This is high-level stuff by Frazier. He thinks he has a one-on-one. But Anosaka, number 4, is going to come all the way around to the A-gap. We call this, you got to get thick. You got to get thick. You can't follow him. You have to go and bump El Hadi, and then El Hadi has to bump Crippen. This is a really, really tough block to execute, and they would have done it. Go to the next picture. There he is passing off, getting thick. Next picture, basically. Look at the footwork right here. These two guys stepped on each other's feet. Crippen just happened to step on El Hadi's cleat. It's just going to happen in the game of football, right? But they are mentally engaged.
They know what they're doing.
Know what they're doing. That is not an easy blitz to pick up. 3rd and 9, and they did such a great job, and it gives Bryce a chance because when you go to this next picture here, what you see is a clean pocket. Bryce has plenty of room to step up and rip this throw. And, Dev showed you earlier, McCauley was open. Maybe a completion if he finds the right guy. Now, I want to fast forward to go to another angle here. So if you go to the next picture, I wanted to talk about the routes. There's 2 key things that I saw here, Dev, and it was the timing, number 1, and trust. So you got your tight end running a little bit of a sit route. Let's go to the next picture and work through this. Right now, because of this is 15 air yards, Dev, I almost wanted to ask you, in my opinion, if you're going to throw it over the line of scrimmage to him, I think this ball needs to be out now because your tight end's breaking down. That window's going to close. It's a split second, but that linebacker, the left linebacker from the defense perspective, he's the one that makes the pick. You think the ball maybe could have been out a little bit earlier here?
It's tough to say just because he's got eyes on Bryce right now, right? I think he's gonna pick this ball off. I think he really baited him, but when you look at the top, look at McCulley. He's in a full sprint, and remember we talked about posture and leverage. Look at the posture and leverage of this defensive back. He's off, backing, and inside. This play should be over. All right, ball should be out. He catches the ball. He catches it, runs out of bounds, and we got a first down completion for Bryce Underwood. And like you said, impressive job by the offensive line and Marshall. I remember being in meetings with Freddie J trying to figure out what the running backs are supposed to do in pass protection. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard Mike to Sam to Weak. Mike to Sam to Weak. Mike to Sam to Weak. It's drilled in their heads, and he is in that running back room. And these running backs he did Mike, and whichever Weak or Sam, he gets right to it, and then the offensive line does their job. Now Bryce has to come along, and this play should be over, and this should be a super plus play for everyone around if he gets to McCulley at the top of the screen in that one-on-one coverage. Also, if he really wanted to, it's the harder throw at the bottom.
Go to the next picture, because that's what I wanted to show you here. That's wide. Oh, and this is where I said trust, because I wonder if there's just trust in Samaj right now.
Yeah,
he's the most open. This is effectively like a cover 3 where that corner is going to take the seam. Yeah, he's midpointing it.
In cover 3, he does a thing called midpoint where he basically covers both guys, right? And that's why the curl or a comeback, that's perfect versus cover 3, because it's going to be wide open, because they think, okay, we'll take away the seam because that's the weakness of cover 3, those seams, and then we'll rally and tackle the curl or the comeback, which is what they're doing here.
Why would that throw be the harder one to you?
Because it's further. That's
okay, just because.
Okay. When I tell you it's so simple, it's literally just the fact that it's further away, right?
Got it.
The ball travels much longer, and with McCulley, you're basically started on the left hash. That's a left hash throw into the boundary, easy throw.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
not
why
a hard throw.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. It's not a hard throw. He can easily throw this easily, but it's just a harder throw than the one in the boundary.
Yeah. And he went with the easiest throw by that philosophy
right over
to his tight end, Deacon Tonielli. Yeah, just a little late. But, this was an interception. There was a few more turnovers on the day. That's it for the photos. Just there's some good stuff to build upon, some stuff where they fell short. I want to go back to special teams, Dev, as I was thinking about this during one of our breaks. You don't beat Ohio State last year on the road. Michigan won the special teams.
They didn't make any
and
mistakes.
Ohio State lost it.
They didn't make any mistakes in special teams. None.
So you got to think of the margin for error is razor thin, which is, I feel, a common theme we've been hammering home here these past few weeks.
And I'm just telling you, I think at least the fans are figuring it out. They're getting it. And it looks like the coaching staff is also getting it in a lot of different areas. There's still more to be desired, but it looks like everybody's trying it. And I just want to give credit. I haven't seen on social media everybody, maybe hating on Lindsey or whatever. Chip Lindsey's done a nice job. I don't know much about him. I know Al Borges vouched for him a great deal, but from the beginning of the season to now, finding out, okay, maybe Bryce isn't exactly who we thought he was, right? Maybe he's not as far along in his quarterback development as we thought he was, right? So that takes time to figure out, okay, what can he do? What is he good at? We know he's talented, and start to really build a different frame, a different offense around him, right? This offense is totally different than it was in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And you want to know why? Because you don't get hit in fall camp. You don't get hit in spring ball. Yeah, it looks like he can do everything. But guess what? In real football, you get hit. And the last time he was hit before his first game in college and before he played OU was against some 17-year-old that had Algebra 2 homework. I'm just telling you, right? That's what happened. And so now Chip Lindsey's starting to find out exactly who he is. And a lot of times the first and second read is open. He's putting him in those RPO situations. He's giving them chances to run the football. I think he's doing a really nice job continuing to help bring Bryce along as slowly as he can, right? And speed it up, but make it organic. Not slowly. Speed it up, but make it organic, where it's not forcing him to wear a cape. And the run game's really helping with that. And I'm just telling you, it is difficult to run the ball so effectively like Michigan does when the other team knows that you're going to run it. You have to be very unique in your design. You have to give some window dress. You have to do a lot of different things as a coordinator to make sure you can still run the football, because that's what Michigan is. They're a running football team. They just happen to be a running football team with 2 number 1 receivers that I think you can hold up against pretty much anyone in the country. So,
yeah. And what can't get lost here, just to put a bow on the episode, Dev, is like, with Chip Lindsey, let's not forget how many versions of this. First off, you're starting 6 true freshmen, I believe. I mean, you're the right side of your offensive line, Blake Frazier, Bryce Underwood, Andrew Marsh. Like, you're playing a lot of youth, and there's been injuries in different starting lineups, and Chip has navigated all that, and he's done a great job, and he's scheming guys open. Purdue game didn't hit him. Northwestern did a better job, again, clean up the mistakes. And I think Wink Martindale has taken some major strides as well. I mean, the defense really shut down Northwestern. Maybe not a lot of disruptive plays, but shut them down. And I think, Dev, I don't know if you have anything else to say. What I would love to see next week when we're doing this show, I don't want to talk about any more youth. I just want to talk about how well the team executed. I think that should be the number one goal after Maryland, ahead of Ohio State.
With the youth thing, DJ Uyunglele was young, and Clemson was saying that same thing, right? We don't want to talk about youth, because if you don't do what you're supposed to do, if you don't improve, youth means nothing, right? You're just going to be an old scrub, right? If you're a young scrub, you're just going to become an old scrub, right? You're not, because you have to improvement. And if you continue to give a crutch to a young kid, right? The brain isn't fully developed, right? 25 is when it starts to really, truly get developed. The decision-making brain, you think, oh, what I'm doing is just fine. And you can't allow it. Yeah. And I truly believe that might have been what happened to DJ Uyunglele, because he was extremely talented, big, strong, number 1 quarterback in the country, all these different things, played well, right? Remember he played against Notre Dame? It was like, oh my God, this is the future. He's the number 1 pick next year. 4 schools in 4 years.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's just got to be like, hey, we're not going to say you're a freshman. You're just capable. Clearly capable. You're just capable. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
And the expectation is that you win against Maryland. And they have a really good quarterback. And the defense is going to have to show up because their receivers are talented. And the offensive line is going to have to show up because they got talented young rushers. And it's going to be a real fight. You want to know why? Because their offense can score. Their offense can put points on the board, but our defense can stop them. And their defense, they are opportunistic. They can do things. So the offense is going to
force a lot of turnovers, a lot of exotic coverages and blitz packages.
Like I've ever seen it. And so 5 turnovers in the football game, that'll be a loss on Saturday, period.
Yeah.
Not going to be able to do it, right? So you got to protect the ball security, the mesh point, throwing the ball into coverage, all those different things has to be cleaned up. And they should walk away with the win. And then guess what? We get ready for the game. And I have a secret.
Win and get in.
I have a secret. I'll be at the game.
How?
My game's on Friday.
Oh, wow. I'm so jealous. That's amazing.
Happy Thanksgiving to me.
Happy Thanksgiving. Where's your game at on Friday?
Arizona. It's very nice, too. On Arizona. It's very nice.
How are you getting back? Are you able to get back?
Red eye.
Oh, let's go.
Red
wow.
eye.
That is amazing. That's amazing.
Referees, you throw one more flag. This game needs to end. The game is tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. Well, there you go. Enjoy, man. I'm jealous. I am absolutely jealous. But one more to go. Remember, it's the push to 10K. One more game, and then it's Ohio State week. We need to get to 10K ahead of that. So, Dev, great stuff on the breakdown. Have a great week of prep. Have a great final game call for both of us ahead of the Ohio State game. And thank you guys for tuning into The Blueprint. We will see you next week.